Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about this incredible topic of time management and how to balance productivity and blissfulness of having a good time or whatever you want to call it. So, the summer is really a good opportunity to talk about it because for a lot of us, we are experiencing conflict because our children are at home or we want to go on summer vacation or the weather is nice and we want to do activities outside, and at the same time, we want to stay productive. If you are an entrepreneur like myself, the summer doesn't mean that we have necessarily less work. Actually, in my case, oftentimes there's more work in the summer. So, how can I stay productive and keep my business growing and moving forward while at the same time I get to enjoy to spend time with my two kids. I have a 7-year old and I have a 2-year old, and being with them gives me a lot of joy. So today I'm going to give you 10 tips, and 4 of the tips have to do with the inside of ourselves. And actually, what I'm talking about are the emotions and our subconscious, unconscious, which actually is the driver. I had a conversation earlier today with one of my executive coaching clients, and it was interesting because what uh, what was the bottom line of that conversation is that that person was doing their best to sort of suppress that 90%, the emotional and the fight, flight, or freeze, and to compensate with it for that 10% that we have our intellect. So it's important that we balance it. And a lot of the times, what we're doing is we're looking for solutions way too fast. Like, how can I manage it? And how can I be more productive? And how can I? And how can I? And I'm inviting you to step back for a moment and allow that sort of softer part, that emotional part of you to also come up. Because in my experience, and I've been doing this for 25 years, you will see that you will have greater solutions or better solutions or more creativity when you balance it. So, the first thing I want to talk about is the guilt that we experience or the resentment that we experience when there's conflict between something that we want to do and we're not able to do it in the best way possible. And in my conversations with my clients, this comes up a lot that people say, hey, I want to have an amazing career and I want to work a lot and I love to work. And then I have these children and I also want to be with them and I feel bad because I'm working too many hours or I'm not, spending my time wisely. And a lot of the times what happens is that guilt or resentment come up and in my clients experience that. And I know this for myself as well. So I want to talk a little bit about that and I want to give you an analogy. Guilt and resentment are a function of two things. A, you have an image about yourself and how you should behave as a mother, as a father, or how you think you should behave as an employee. And the action, your actual behavior is violating your image. And the result of that is that you're experiencing guilt or resentment or the two things together. So let's say my image as a mother is that I have to make time for them. I always have to pick them up from school, from kindergarten, and I have to be present and I have to be a good mother, and these are the things that are, per my definition, mean that I'm a good mother. And life comes along, and of course, I don't always pick them up, and I don't have always the perfect meal ready, and I don't always get them to bed on time, and maybe sometimes I'm cranky and angry with them, and therefore I'm not a good mother, and my action is violating my image, and now I feel guilty or I feel resentment. So the easy thing to do in this case is to actually adjust your image and to realize that we can't always be perfect. There is no thing as being a perfect mother or father or perfect anything, and that we're human beings, and that from the get-go, you just allow yourself to be imperfect and be human and make mistakes. And when you make the mistakes, that you can actually be okay with that and move yourself quickly into a forgiveness process or into a process of where you can let things go. So if you don't learn anything from today but that, I offer this to you for you to understand that guilt and resentment are a function of a misalignment between the image that you have of yourself, or sometimes the image that you have of others, of how you think they should behave, maybe your spouse, or maybe your boss, or maybe your sister, your mother, your friend, and then the perceived violation of, well, it didn't match up. What happens is that we feel guilt and resentment. So, people, you can either change your action, and sometimes that's actually possible, or you can change your image. And it's usually easier to change the image. Okay, now that we got that off our chest, let's talk a little bit about what we can do on the inner to have a better time. Because remember, the goal is for you to be productive and for you to enjoy your time when you're not productive, and really to make the most of it so that you can have what you actually want. One more thing before I get into the tips. For some of us, it's not so easy. We are not able, it's not easy for us to relax or have a good time. It's much more comfortable for us to be working all the time. And for some of us, we're on the other end. It's difficult for us to focus and it's easier for us to go with the flow. Wherever you are on the spectrum, look at this as an opportunity for you to strengthen your muscle so that it actually will help you to make decisions. You can be stronger, you can be more resourceful, and it's easier for you to function over here in the world of productivity, and it's easier for you to function in the world of having fun. Okay, so what are the tips? My first tip is that it's important for you to set an intention. An intention is the qualitative part of your goal. It's the emotionality. It's what is important to us. We can't make decisions without emotions. We can't function without emotions. I know we think we can, and we do our best to keep our emotions down, but they're automatic chemical, biochemical chain reactions, and they come and are with us all the time. So you want to think about, how do I want to feel? Maybe I want to feel relaxed. Maybe I want to have fun. Maybe I want to be peaceful. What is it that you want to experience this summer? And maybe the summer started already. Then you can do this now, or you're about to start the summer, but think about it. And you want to have no more than kind of 3 intentions. For me, it's fun. I want to have fun. I want to experience togetherness, and I want to be productive, meaning I want to be able to get things done. So no more than 3, but have at least one. There could be that you have one overriding intention that is really important that you want to experience. The second tool or tip that I have for you is that you want to think about, okay, now that I've set my intentions, for me, fun, togetherness, and productive, I want to think about, how do I need to show up? And so that I can actually experience that. So if I'm sitting there with my arms crossed and I'm grumpy and I'm like closed, it's probably going to be difficult for me to have fun and be productive. What we do know is that when we contract, when we close off, it's difficult for us to be creative. It's difficult for us to have fun and experience positive emotions. So for me, I thought about this ahead of time. What I need to do and how I need to show up is I need to be open, and I need to be open to positivity, like for good things to happen. These days, when you look at the news, it doesn't matter where you look, it's all about negativity because negativity sells more. And to stay open can be challenging. So it's a reminder for me to look at the sun is shining, look at beautiful flowers, and to stay open to possibilities, and to stay open to good things and positive experiences to come my way. If you take that and you inquire within yourself to see if that's actually possible, you will quickly see that your degree to actually make that happen rests upon the beliefs that you have about yourself, your life, the world, and perhaps even the summer. So this is an invitation for you to look at your beliefs and to see, do I actually believe that I can be productive and have fun? Do I believe that it's good for me to stay open? What is it that I do believe in? And if you come across beliefs that are limiting, negative, then it's another invitation for you to see what you can do, how you can construct that belief so that you can take it to the next step, that you can take it to a more open place. So let's say I have a belief that it's impossible for me to be productive and have fun at the same time. It's like, I'm from Germany, so we're either productive, and when I'm productive, I can't think about having fun. Actually, it's probably not a good example because I think generally speaking, one of the things that Germans do know how to do is they do know how to be productive and they do know how to have fun. They know how to switch back and forth. So, but let's say I'm not the typical German and it's difficult for me to do, and I don't believe that I can do it. By default, it's going to be hard for me to be open, and I want to see what is it that I need in order to change that belief. So the way I work with myself is I will coach myself or prod myself or entice myself to say, well, what if it's actually possible? What if there's something that I don't know that will make it easier? And I crack open the door in my own thinking, in my own feeling, so that I can open to the possibility of something to come in. In my experience, what's happening actually is that oftentimes I can't even orchestrate it as well when I'm trying to control it. If I just let go and I open to the universe, or then it becomes pretty amazing and the solutions that show up are great. So look at your beliefs, and if something is locked up and you're stern or you're stubborn about a certain way of looking at things, see if you can't crack it open just a little bit, just for a little bit of light or possibility to come through. So those are 3 ways for you to work on the inner, and they're pretty important. I want to tell you a story about what happened yesterday. It's not related so much to the topic, but it just illustrates the step or the tip that I'm talking about. So I oftentimes have this. I go to networking events, and it's not the easiest thing for me to do. And before I go, my natural tendency would be to contract and to say, well, nobody wants to meet with me, and I'm not interesting, and there's so many people, and my automatic behavior, my automatic way of being would be to contract. Of course, if you go to a networking, if I go to a networking meeting in that state, probably that's exactly what's going to happen. Nobody wants to talk to me. I'm going to sit there grumpy in the corner. So I think about what's my intention, what is my belief before I go, and how do I need to show up? So I had 2 networking events this week already, and I decided I wanted to have fun, and I wanted to be approachable, and I wanted to be generous. And I did. And in order for me to show up that way, I need to be open, and I need to put a smile on my face and approach people and see how they're doing, and asking them what's going on, and also be willing to genuinely give of my resources. And I was able to do that. I had my first networking event, and I met some great people, had great conversations, and I was able to hopefully assist somebody. And my second networking meeting was yesterday, and for a moment I found myself sitting at a table, and I had the opportunity to decide whether I wanted to just look at my phone and see who texted me or what was going on, or just get up and meet new people. And several times I actually got up and said, hey, can I join the conversation? And of course people were welcoming, and it was great. And I also encourage people to do that. Come join our conversation. So it was a great experience of where I was able to meet new people and share myself and follow my intention and show up, and also have a belief that was supporting what it is that I wanted to create. So whether it is for you to master time management and have a great summer and be able to be productive and at the same time have a good time and be blissful, it's always the same. You want to be clear about intentions, you want to make sure that you show up in a way that you can actually fulfill on that, and you want to look at your beliefs and make sure that they're aligned with your goals that you have. Okay, so let's switch and look at the practicality and look at some tips and what you can do after you figured out the first part. So the first thing that's super important is to set some goals, because how do you know where you're going to go if you don't have any goals? And goals could be around, do we want to go on vacation? What do I want to accomplish this summer? There could be general goals, there could be weekly goals, there could be daily goals. So daily goals could be, I want to have X amount of clients. I'm probably going to have a somewhat limited schedule in July. I'm going to be taking off a week and a half, and so that I can plan for that. And I can also look at what's my personal schedule, what's my weekly schedule. Maybe I want to continue to do yoga and exercise. And what is my overall goal? What is it that I want to accomplish? And when do I have more free time? So you want to be clear about the goals. And you want to look at them as, what are my personal goals? What are my family goals? What are my business goals? And so that all areas in your life will have some goals, especially as it pertains to the summer, because the summer is a season that happens once a year. And so there's things that you can do during the summer that you can't do any other time. Once you have your goals, you want to prioritize. You want to look at what is more important. And there's several ways to prioritize. Sometimes it's time, sometimes it's emotional, a way of prioritizing. And sometimes it's the sense of belonging or doing something together. So you want to look at that. You want to look at the categories that you have. And ideally, you've taken all the different categories into consideration, then you can prioritize fairly easily. Maybe you have 3 things, and you can say, yeah, look, this thing has all three things. My vacation is about having fun, big togetherness, and relaxation. Yes, it's going to be a priority. And then you can schedule it accordingly. Also, oftentimes, what people don't take into consideration when they prioritize is the notion of, what do you connect with the most? What is most important to you? And perhaps what's most fun? And don't feel bad if working is a fun thing for you. I love to work. I love to work with my clients, and I get amazing pleasure and satisfaction from it. So that's okay. So for some people, it's more fun to work than to go see a movie. That is okay. We are all different. However, when we're in the family context, we want to make sure that the family goal gets accomplished and that we can be flexible with that. Next comes time management. So time management is important, and it does come at this point. It doesn't come prior to that. So it's not about how can I get more stuff done in a shorter period of time. It's about making sure that you get those important things done. Years ago, Stephen Covey wrote the book of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm not sure if this is his idea or if he got it from somebody else, but the notion was about how much stuff can we get into a bottle or a container. And he talked about putting the first big important things in first. So the big stones that are perhaps exercising or spending time with yourself, or maybe certain things at work, they need to go in first. And then you can put smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller stuff in. If you fill up the container with water right away or sand, there's no space for big stuff. So build it accordingly. First, important things first, then the little less important things, all the way to, okay, there's the little things that you can do. One of the secrets to good time management is to make a list. Maybe you have your daily, weekly, monthly list, and to assign time values to the activities. And I know that we can't always know exactly how much time it's going to take us. However, you can guesstimate. So if I have to write a proposal, or if I want to paint my fence, or if I go on vacation, I know how much time it's going to take. Or maybe I want to plan my vacation, so I know how much time it's going to take to do that. So you want to assign time value, and then you want to add it up. I always say when I do time management with my clients, if you have a weekly or a daily activity and you're working 8 hours and your daily activities are 12 hours, guess what? You're going to feel bad at the end of the day because you didn't get everything done. So make sure that whatever you schedule fits into the amount of time that you have every day, every week, every month. Okay, so we have 168 hours in the week, probably about 45 hours or so are sleep, and we have some time that goes for grooming and shopping and all those kind. Then we have work, and so you can see the pie gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so you want to think about what kind of activity fits in there. And don't forget to take drive or travel time into consideration, because parking, getting there, all that's important. And so that you can feel good about the activities that you have to do. Next, communicate your expectations. So oftentimes we have an expectation and we don't communicate it. And maybe my expectation is that I want to write 5 proposals this summer and set myself up for 2024, the fall. And my partner's expectation is to have a good time and to spend as much time as the pool. And maybe my kids have expectations as well of what they want to do. And so it's important that we talk about it, that we sit together and that we find the common ground, so that we're clear. Oftentimes we get disappointed because we didn't communicate our expectations, and then it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sad. What is it that I need to do that went awry here? And it is because we didn't talk about what we're expecting and what we're hoping. Now, it's equally important that you communicate your expectations, but that you also let go of them, because when we hold on to expectations, we usually get ourselves into trouble. So it's that fine line between having expectations and working towards them and taking steps to make them happen, but at the same time to let go because something better or greater may come in, and you didn't even know that was possible. So communicate your expectations. Okay, what else do we have here on my list? I made this list for you. So it's important for you to establish a routine. And I think it's important to have a routine in the summer, or to keep the routine that you have, or maybe you slightly adjust the routine so that it doesn't move into, oh, we get up whenever and we do whenever we want to, but that you actually have a routine. You decide what the routine is going to be during the summer. Maybe it changes a little bit on the weekend, and that you look at the building blocks. Okay, if you have little kids, it's easier, but even if you have teenagers and they don't want to, and they tell you, you know what, Mom, I want to be on my tablet every day for 10 hours, 12 hours, that you look at what is going to be the routine, and when is the screen time and when is the not screen time. And I actually, one of my tips is to limit the screen time, and just to be very clear about it, that yes, maybe you're used to being on the computer all the time because you're at school or you're homeschooling, but while you're off, while you're going to be on vacation, or while we're doing the summer, the screen time is going to be X. You want to establish good channels of communication and be clear about what you want to communicate, how you want to communicate, and what form of communication do you want to utilize. So maybe we want to get together once a week and we have a family meal and we talk about how's it going this summer, and like what's working, what's not working. Or I want to be clear with my kids that, they can't go to one parent and ask for something and then they go to the other parent and ask for something else. So that I let them know that if they want to go to the pool, they have to check it out with both of us. Now, in our household, my kid speaks German and my kid speaks Hebrew. So it's very funny sometimes. He will ask me something in German, and of course, nobody else can understand it. And so it's important that I say to him, hey, listen, you need to check this out with both of us. And just to be clear, that you have the approval from both of us. Now we got smart, and usually what we say is like, well, what did you ask mommy? And what did she say? And did you have already sweets, or what are the plans? And so that we be clear about it. For some families, if you have a lot of kids or there's a lot of stuff going on, maybe you want to have a special Google Calendar for the holidays, for the summer, or a calendar where you keep track of who's doing what and when, and what camp is happening, and all the activities. And so it's clear, and you can look at it. I mean, you can even plan your luncheons. One of the conversations I had with my client, one of them who has a little kid, was instead of running to the supermarket, every 5 minutes, even though it's right next door, to think about, okay, what are we going to eat? What are we going to plan? What kind of snacks do we need? And just to have one big shopping event a week, because it saves a lot of time. Now, for those of you who are working and you're entrepreneurs, so it's even more important than if you have a 9-to-5 job. Think about utilizing blocks. So when is the time that you're most effective? Maybe yesterday we were talking about utilizing the time when your kids are sleeping. And the default would be just to do more things for the kid and do laundry or whatnot. But maybe this is actually the perfect time for you to take care of yourself, or to move something forward in your life. I schedule a lot of clients at night when my kids are sleeping, and initially it was sort of like a free-for-all. Okay, you can book me whenever you want. And now I kind of have 2 days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, where I make sure that my kids are sleeping at 8:30, because that's 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, and then people can book me until 10. And that means I got 2 coaching sessions in, and then I have 4 sessions every week that are evening sessions, and I'm clear about that. So utilize the blocks. Make sure that the difficult things that you have to do, that you do those during the times that you can, that you're most effective. I have some clients who have little kids, and for them to have kids in the background, that's okay. It's normal. But maybe I have a meeting with the board, or I have some very corporate clients who are single and don't have any kids, and for them, maybe it's more difficult to relate to that. So I will make sure that I schedule them during a different time, because it's more important for me to be in that zone, because I know maybe there will be a judgment, or maybe I want to check it out, and ask them, like, would you like to reschedule? But the important message here is to create blocks of times where you can be productive. And during those blocks of time, and this is another time management tip, do not check your phone, do not check your email all the time. If you're on Slack, turn it off. So if you're on WhatsApp, disconnect the WhatsApp from your computer for that time, so you can focus on it, because that jumping back and forth between all the different tasks and information that comes in is really difficult. I know you think you can multitask, but there is no such thing as multitask. I think Yale or Harvard, they did a bunch of studies, and it was actually determined that what we do is we jump back and forth between those different things. And it takes a snippet or a moment for you to actually get back into the swing of thing and then pick it up to where you were. Okay? So it's important that you have that chunk of time that you can focus on something. Backup plans. Make sure that you have a backup plan. So if you have childcare that you've planned, or you have your family or whatever, that you have a backup plan, or maybe multiple backup plan. And here's what I say to the people that never had a babysitter. So of course it's really difficult to get a babysitter, last minute. So what you want to do is you want to think about it. And if it's hard for you, come up with a plan to ease yourself in, vet some babysitters, and think about it way ahead of time before you actually need one, and so that you have that option to say, oh my God, we need a babysitter, and it's last minute. So backup plan, who can help us? Grandparents, babysitter. There are a bunch of moms. We can do things together. We can sort of be our backup plans. Make sure that you think about it, and that sometimes it's important to talk about it every week, because I may not have the flexibility to be a backup plan according or depending on what my schedule is. And so that I can say, hey, you know what, today I cannot be the backup plan. So we need to find another backup plan. Self-care plans, family plans, couple plans, friend plans. So think about that within the construct of the summer. Is there something that we want to accomplish as a couple, as a family? Is there something that I want to accomplish individually? Is there something that I want to do with my friends? My brother was telling me that sometime in July, every year they have a reunion with their buddies from high school. In Germany, everything is high school. So, and he's thinking of going. And, that would be a plan that has to do with him and community and his friends, or his former friends. So, want to plan that in, because maybe at the same time, his son or his partner want to go on vacation, so that's clearly communicated. So what is the self-care plan? What is the family plan? Do I have to adopt it? Do I have to change it? Is there a plan for the couple? Do we want to have some date nights that we haven't been able to do because it's summer and it's beautiful and we live by the water? And is there something that I want to do with my friends? I mentioned it earlier. Limit the screen time. Decide ahead of time how much time you're going to be on the screen. This is not just for your children. And what is the screen time that you are comfortable with your children? No, it's not easy. No, it takes determination, but it's good. It's a good discipline. And in the end, you'll be glad that you did it. Number 8, be flexible. Flexibility is hard. I know, because we like to be in control. We like to control things. And we do not like it when other people try to control us. And so here I come to say, be flexible. Flexibility kicks in when things do not fall into place. So, it's when the backup plans come to full fruition. But it also comes into place when the store is closed, or when I want to buy something and they don't have it. I've been teaching my son. I've been talking to him a lot about flexibility. And I say to him, before it even happens, hey, listen, maybe that kind of ice cream that you want, maybe they don't have it. Or maybe we get to the store and the store is closed. Or maybe you want to get together with your friend and your friend's not available. And he's very specific, and he has a specific idea of how he wants things to do. And I want to teach him early on that flexibility is a skill, something that we can practice. And that it will open us up and will free us up. Sometimes better things happen when the things that we planned didn't work out. And there's a little gift, there's a little silver lining. And so that's wonderful when that shows up. So be flexible, make creative solutions. You can make a game out of it. You can say, hey, this is not happening today, so let's see what creative solution we can come up with in order to solve our problem, or deal with whatever's not working out. Last but not least, and I think this is important, quality versus quantity. So sometimes we're so busy to spend all this time with our kids, our loved ones, our family, and the more the better, or the merrier the better. But really what matters is the quality and not the quantity. I can have 10, 15 really amazing moments or time spent with my kid, and it will be a much better experience than the 2 hours that we had before. So be sure that if you have little time, that you make it count, and that you look at this and say, wow, I really want to have a heartfelt, deep connection. I really want to be present and be with my child, or be with this person. So if there's something that is going to prevent you from being with that person so deeply, you want to make sure that you did it ahead of time. So if you need to focus, or you need to take care of something, or you want to put that load of laundry in, or you need to write an email beforehand, then do it, because you want to be clear that, um, or you want to clear yourself, and so that you can actually spend the time with that person in the best way possible. Okay, so those are my tips. I gave you a lot of tips. I'm going to quickly review them for you. And we talked about guilt and resentment that show up when there's a misalignment between the image that you have yourself and the action. We talked about intention, and having an intention for the summer. And if you want to learn more about it, there's a bunch of resources that are available on my website or in my YouTube channel. Um, we talked about how to show up so that you can actually live the intention. And we also looked at the beliefs that can support or limit that intention. We looked at goals. We looked at prioritization. And we looked at time management. And the key there was to assign time value to the activities and make sure that when you add that all up, that it fits into the allotted slot that you have for the day, for the week, for the month. We talked about communication and the expectations that we have, and to consider our kids. Our kids have expectations. Do not disregard them, even though they're small. They have expectations. We talked about establishing routines, or changing the routine, or being flexible with it, but to have a routine. We talked about good channels of communication. Who's in charge of what, when, and where? How can I check the plans? Could be email, could be Google Calendar, could be cluing in everybody that's involved in the summer plans. We talked about utilizing time block, making chunks of time, and making sure that you carve that out, and that you don't get distracted, so that you turn off the phone, that you turn off the WhatsApp, whatever it is that you to look towards, that can get you distracted, and that you understand that there isn't really such a thing as multitasking, that every time that you look at something else, it distracts you for a moment, and it takes you a second, or maybe even 5 minutes sometimes, to get back into the swing of things. Limiting screen time. We talked about backup plans. We looked at making plans for yourself, for your family, for the couple, for the kids. We talked about flexibility, and we talked about quality versus quantity. So those are basically my tips and my thoughts about mastering the time during the summer and having a good time and being effective. If you want more, feel free to contact me. An easy way for you to get in touch with me is to go to clearintentions.net, my website. There you can subscribe to my newsletter, then you find out about LinkedIn events. I'm running a special right now, so if you're new to coaching and you would like to dive into this a little deeper, I'm running a summer special, so you can contact me about that. It's basically 4 45-minute sessions that I'm offering for a discounted rate. I'm offering that to 3 people. So if you're interested, let me know. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. You will get lots of tips. You can review this, and you can also search for topics that are near and dear to your heart. So having said that, thank you for coming today. Thank you for watching. And I wish you an amazing summer, and with amazing productivity and a wonderful time with your family. And may all your dreams, all the things that you're hoping for, wanting for, happen this summer and more. Take care, and have a good summer.